Selamat sore, good afternoon. This is my no-name channel, and I'm Bruce, and this is another Bali COVID-19 update for June 13th, 2021. And good news and some not so good news. So, let's get started with the numbers first, as usual. Okay, numbers. Good news. 22 new cases. Yesterday gives us 47,710. Gives us 45,783 recoveries, 35 new ones yesterday. 1,520 deaths, unfortunately, and 3 new deaths yesterday. Good news, we're down to 407 active cases. That's a drop of 16 from the day before. So, good numbers. So while our numbers are going down, unfortunately, there's been a spike in Java. Yesterday, around Indonesia, 7,465 cases. New cases, so not good, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. By Regency, Denpasar 5, Badung 5, Gianyar 4, Bulaling 3, Jembrana 1, Tabanan 0, Bangli 0, Klungkung 0, and Karangasem 0. So good. And out of the 22 cases, 18 were local and 4 were domestic travelers. Okay, so number-wise, we're looking good on the island, but the country as a whole is not looking good. It's looking more like the rest of Southeast Asia right now, Southeast and East Asia, unfortunately. And so that's gonna impact us. We'll get to that at the end. Okay, let's talk about vaccines. So far, our cumulative totals as of the 11th were 1,604,154 first shots and 677,617 second shots. And Indonesia yesterday, or a few days ago, received 1,504,800 doses from the COVAX scheme of AstraZeneca vaccine. So good news there. And well, I'm going to talk more about the vaccine in a couple of stories coming up. Okay, so next story. Indonesia to start rolling out vaccines to the general population by early July, according to the health ministry. Indonesia began the vaccination program back in January with 1.4 million healthcare workers, and my eldest daughter was among those at the time. The second phase began in March with 21.5 million Indonesians over the age of 59 and 17.4 million public workers. The upcoming third phase was planned to target 63.9 million people considered to be at risk because of geospatial, social, and economic factors. Those categories have been merged with the general population over the age of 18. And so this is the new target, and this is going to be a total of 141.3 million people. President Jokowi has ordered the health ministry to ramp up vaccinations to 1 million per day by July. And as of June 10th, 19.2 million Indonesians, or 10.58% of the population, have received their first shots, while 11.5 million, or 6.32%, have received their second shot. So I wasn't aware that we were up to 10.58% of the population. So that's good. Okay, encouraging. Indonesia plans to inoculate at least 70% of the population in order to reach the herd immunity by early 2022. Okay, so, and vaccinations continue on around Bali. So good news on the vaccination front. Officials confirmed that Denpasar will achieve herd immunity in the near future. Denpasar officials have confirmed that the city will reach herd immunity soon because 65% of the residents have been vaccinated. The spokesman of Denpasar COVID-19 Handling Task Force, E. Dewa Gede Rai, said the city only needs a few weeks more to reach herd immunity. from a total, he said, from a total of 725,314 residents in Denpasar, we need to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine to at least 507,720 of them. This is 70% to achieve herd immunity in accordance with the standards from WHO, and we're almost there, he said. And so first dose so far, 338,388, or 65.66%, have been vaccinated with the first dose, and both doses 166,897, or 32.87%. And he's optimistic that Denpasar will achieve herd immunity by July or August. He's also sure that Denpasar still has enough vaccine to complete the program, and he said currently there's 173,535 doses available, which will be enough to reach the 70%. And he's been cooperating with religious leaders, all the ethnic groups in Bali across the city to support the vaccination program, while providing enough vaccinations all around the city, in various parts of the city. And vaccinations are ongoing, as they've been now for, well, I don't know, how long has it been? Over a month. So, good news. Now, it looks like when he said reaching herd immunity at 70%, it looks like he's talking about first doses at 70%, because he said in this article we need to get another 5%. So we have 65% have been vaccinated with the first dose. So it's not complete immunity. There are some people that are completely immune, theoretically, but we'll take what we can get here. Because second doses, if we're going, I'm not sure if everybody is going at the same distance here, the same gap between your first and your second dose, but up here in Bulaang, well, in Kampung Bugis anyway, it's 12 weeks. And so my second dose comes July 31st. My wife and sons in August. And my nieces, nephews, everybody's spread out in August. So that's how the vaccinations program is going, and so that's good news for Denpasar, because Denpasar is right there at the airport, and as I've mentioned before, this is where tourists first come into the island. Okay, so good news on that front. And this past week, the governor of Bali met with the president of Indonesia to discuss the situation here. The meeting was held on the 7th of June at the Merdeka Palace, and it was to discuss the restoration of tourism in Bali. And 5 topics were discussed. First, the achievement of the vaccination program in Bali. Second, the tightening of the COVID-19 health protocols. Third, the encouraging of domestic tourism in Bali. Fourth, the preparation for opening a corridor for foreign tourists using strict health protocols. And fifth, balancing the Balinese economy with the creative economy, digital economy, and increasing exports so that Bali is not too dependent on tourism. And the governor of Bali reported several things at this meeting. First, the achievement of the vaccination program. And so, if you've been watching any of these previously, or if you just heard what I was talking about with the numbers earlier, we're doing really well now. We've received about 3 million doses of the vaccine, about 50% of the total needed. We need about 6 million doses to cover 3 million people, which is around 70% of the 4.32 million people that live here on the island. And so that was discussed. Second, the impact of the vaccination program. We've seen, because of this, decline in the number of new cases. And the governor brought up the fact that we need an additional 3 million doses in order to hit that 6 million mark and complete the target vaccination of 3 million people. And so during this meeting, the governor was there talking to the president to convey the request and aspirations of the parties involved in Balinese tourism. And so the first one was, we need the 3 million doses, so please get those to us as soon as possible so that we can complete the vaccination program, well, at 70%, hit the 70% mark by July 2021, another 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now. Wow, June is going fast. Second, to encourage domestic tourism by providing special incentives. And third, to increase the work from Bali program, which I talked about last week, so that all ministries and institutions in the government are involved. Fourth, to increase national and world meetings in Bali. And fifth, the governor proposed that foreign tourists that Bali can be open to foreign tourists on a limited basis by the end of July 2021. And so that's pretty much sums up exactly what we need. The president is open to all of this, and the national government, or the central government as it's usually called in news reports, is working with the provincial authorities to get Bali up to the 70% as quickly as possible so that we can open up. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute. Okay, let's go on to the next story. What happened with this meeting between the governor and the president? The governor laid out all those issues that I talked about. Well, a follow-up to the story. President Jokowi has approved 10 proposals from the governor. Some of these proposals I mentioned in the last story, but I'll repeat them for you. So another 3 million doses of the vaccine, optimizing domestic tourism by providing special incentives, optimizing the work from Bali program, hosting more big international events, proposing to reopen the international travel bubble by the end of July, continuing the cash assistance program for Bali tourism sector, extending the installment period for tourism businesses, providing new skill training. This is important. Providing new skill training for Bali people. Boy, we really could use this to get into some areas other than just tourism. Providing soft loan program for the tourism sector, and allowing Bali to host the virtual Bali Arts Festival on July 12th. 2021. I haven't heard of that yet. Sounds interesting. And the president has agreed to all those. So we're getting a lot of cooperation, a lot of encouragement, a lot of plans from Sandiaga Uno to get us ready to open up. So let's hope so. Okay, and now we're at the section of the video where we talk about naughty tourists. And I got flagged after my last video because I had links to a couple of articles, one in English and one in Indonesian, on the what was called the porn villa. And because I had links and the links said porn villa in them, I got flagged by YouTube. And I got a warning, and they said I could appeal it, and I did. And the warning seems to have disappeared. They said they'd send me a message and let me know what their decision was. I had never received an email from them, but the warning's gone. So I'm not going to link anything here today because I don't want to go through this again. There are stories. If you want to read about this, you can look at the Coconuts website, and there's a link to another Coconuts article here. you can just go to Coconut's website and then you can find this article on the porn thing. So this is a story that won't die, and as I said, as I was flagged last week, I'm not going to give the links. So the police say that immigration records suggest that 2 of the stars have probably left Bali already. And the head of the cybercrime unit at Bali Police said, "We are still investigating, but until now, we still don't know their identities. Online names can be made up. The real identities behind the account, we don't know yet." The head of the Bali office for the Ministry of Law and Human Rights said that 2 of the perps were from Germany. And a social media post claimed that at least some of them are already on the road again, traveling around the world. The Indonesian female who was allegedly involved in all this is still being sought. More on how the authorities are dealing with all these porn videos that have come up, and I've talked about several of the mothers, and not just the porn videos, but all the violations of health and safety protocols. So foreigners under increased monitoring following viral porn villa clips, Bali police. So the police in Bali say they are increasing the supervision of foreign nationals as a response to recent viral pornographic content made on the island. Last week I mentioned that one official asked the public to be more vigilant in order to stamp out pornography from the island. Well, good luck with that. So that will now include Bali police, who will be stepping up supervision of foreigners in order to sustain order. They will also work to raise awareness about the issue with villa and hotel owners, so that they'll be on the alert for people who are suspicious, I guess. Authorities will soon put up banners to notify tourists that pornography is a criminal act in Indonesia. Also, foreign visitors may be required to include their social media details when filling out immigration forms. Okay, now you can come up with fake social media accounts very easy. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, if that's even useful. In terms of putting up banners, I guess maybe they're talking about putting something up at the airport. Kind of like the drug signs that are there, that drugs are an offense and you could get the death penalty. I don't know if they still have those there. I haven't been at the airport in 3+ years. But you would think that most people would get that, but obviously not. So we're going to be under increased surveillance, we foreigners. And this is what I was talking about before. One of the ways you have a good life here is to keep a low profile. And there's just people that just don't seem to be able to do that. Now there's going to be more supervision of the foreigners, and there was some information put out today on the internet about rules and procedures for hotel and villa and homestay owners on how to report their guests. I guess there's a new online system to do this. And well, in the past, if you've been here, you fill out a form, your name, your passport number, where you're from, all the details where you've come from when you're leaving, and then they take that and they turn it into the police, and so they're socializing a new method now, because they want to keep track of the foreigners and find out where they are. So thanks, you bozos that have had to go around and stir up the pot. Okay, enough of that story. And so, what about opening? Okay, Ministry preps for Bali tourism recovery with reopening in July. According to Pak Sandiaga Uno, we continue to make preparations for the recovery of tourism in Bali. Of course, in response to the COVID-19 case spike in several areas, we continue to monitor the COVID-19 situation in Bali that is currently under control. So yes, it is under control. We are under control. Pak Uno noted that his ministry is continuing to prepare steps to revive tourism in Bali by applying health protocols. And he said, at an early meeting this week, the president will monitor in detail the progress in vaccinations and the implementation of health protocols, as well as COVID-19 handling. If the preconditions are achieved, of course, the final decision will be made by him by referring to the readiness of the travel corridor arrangements currently being prepared by the Foreign Affairs Minister. And Pak Uno commended Bali as being one of the provinces to have the most efficiently conducted COVID-19 vaccination program. He added that Bali has the highest number of hotels, restaurants, and tourist destinations with the Cleanliness, Health, Safety, and Environment Sustainability certification, the CHSE. I've talked about those way back 2 months ago. There will be, by July, 1,200 hotels, restaurants, and tourist destinations certified and ready to go. Okay, good news. And in another attempt to reinvigorate tourism in Bali and throughout Indonesia, Indonesia will have vaccine tourism soon, according to Sandiaga Uno, our old friend, the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy. He said the ministry is preparing a full-dose COVID-19 vaccine tour package for tourists who want to travel to Indonesia, and it will launch soon. Now, originally, I thought they were talking about people from overseas, but going through this article, it looks like they're talking about internal domestic tourism. He said vaccine tourism is a necessity in the scope of tourism in the creative economy. What we make sure is that the vaccine for Indonesian citizens are free as a public good, which we determined the tour package to be. And Sandiaga Uno said that the vaccine tour package could start with the first dose before departure to tourist destinations, and there'll be different tourist destinations, different packages, and then tourists will be have a 14-day vacation in certain destinations, and followed by a second dose before returning home. And several alternative tour packages will be offered in order to entice Indonesian tourists and foreigners within the country to help pump up domestic tourism. But is this going to happen? I don't know. It's another one of Pak Uno's plans to get things going. You have to say that Pak Uno has been a very active tourism minister, very, very active. And, well, here we are a couple of weeks away from July, and so let's see what happens. Okay, and so we've been talking about what's going to happen, when are we going to open, who's going to be here. Well, here's a story that from the Executive Traveler website. Australia's international travel ban extended to September 2021. So Australia is one of Bali's biggest sources of visitors, and so many players in the tourism industry keep an eye on what's happening in Australia because they want Aussies to come back. This travel ban has been in effect since May of 2020, I think, and it's been extended until September 2021. Health Minister Greg Hunt confirmed that human biosecurity emergency period, which has been in place since March 2020, will be extended until September 2021. However, this time frame is short of the government's proposed date of December 2021, when the plan is for the majority of Australians to be vaccinated. The Australian Health Protection Principal Committee, AHPPC, says that it has advised the international COVID situation continues to pose an unacceptable risk to public health. The extension of the emergency period is an appropriate response to that risk. However, exceptions will be made for country-specific travel bubbles, such as the one in place with New Zealand. And the Pacific Islands, Singapore, Japan, Hong Kong, South Korea, and Taiwan have also been tipped for future bubbles, but some of these destinations are having some of their outbreaks, like Taiwan, Singapore, and South Korea. Qantas CEO Alan Joyce commented that Qantas could restart flights to the U.S. and the U.K. earlier than the proposed mid-2022 because of the success that they've had so far with their vaccination program. And here's some good news. Well, maybe some good news. A travel trial for fully vaccinated Australians is being considered. It's a pilot program that would let fully vaxxed Australians travel overseas starting in August. And under this program, they could fly to selected countries, including low-risk destinations, and return without facing quarantine if they show a negative COVID test result on arrival. It's suggested that the trial could be rolled out alongside amber grading for less risky countries, which amber would be between the green, New Zealand, and red, which is pretty much everywhere else in the world. Travelers arriving from amber countries would face far less stringent quarantine rules, and so that's a good news for Australians. Is Indonesia going to be an amber country? Yeah, I don't know. Our numbers, as I said, are going up countrywide. Bali, yeah, we're okay, but the rest of the country is not okay yet. Okay, time for a wrap up. So, numbers are looking good here. They're continuing to go down. Not so good in the rest of the country. Good news is vaccinations continue here, and they're going to start rolling them out all over the country, and so we should be up to 70%. Looks like by the end of July, at the latest. Does that mean we're going to open? So, like I said, Sandiaga Uno's still going on. The governor of Bali has told the president we'd like to get this open by the end of July. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Nobody can tell really. It's just wait and see. People that say that it's going to be open, yeah, they don't know. Nobody knows. It's well, the North Bali airport is an example. They were going to get this going. It was going to be done by 2023, 2024. It's gone. It was not even going before the pandemic, and so yeah, people get ahead of themselves here, as they often do. Governments, they announce something and then yeah, it rolls out when it rolls out. And so, what's the best case scenario? Best case scenario is everybody gets vaccinated here. We hit 70% herd immunity by the end of July, and sometime in August, everything has gotten better in Taiwan and Singapore, South Korea. China decides to allow people to come in without quarantine when they get back. I think Australia is going to be a no-go at least until September. And get Europeans and maybe some Americans. So yeah, we just have to wait and see, really. That's about it. The good news is, yeah, the numbers. The numbers are the good news. The bad news is that the situation economically is just, yeah, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. There's down in the main street in Singaraja here, more empty stores, more places for sale, for rent. The tourist areas, hotels, restaurants going up for sale. Some people, some foreigners are in trying to grab land cheap, which is unfortunate. And people are selling it because they need the money. So that's not a good situation. How are we going to work out this in the end? I don't know. I'd like to see this training program, and the governor was talking about we need to get exports up, we need to diversify the economy, and work on domestic tourism, which we can count on, and spread out our economy, develop some new things, electric motorcycles, the green park that's going to go, the green industrial park that's going to go up in the west of the island, could have some good things. So let's try to think positive. So don't plan on coming here. And I forgot I mentioned this on the earlier. I've done this wrap up 3 times. I did it outside twice. It was just too noisy. You couldn't hear anything. The 14-day quarantine that I was talking about last week, so they announced it and then nothing official has come out. And so there's no word on that. So right now the quarantine is still 5 days. And you can only come in through Jakarta, Surabaya, and maybe Medan. I'm not sure, but Jakarta and Surabaya for sure. And so, if you're at home, away from Bali, stay safe. If you want to come to Bali, hang in there. It will open up eventually. If you're here, stay with the program, wear your mask, social distance. Don't do crazy stuff. Don't bring any more attention on foreigners than we already have. Try to behave like a normal person. If you don't know how normal people behave, go hang out somewhere and watch Indonesians and see what they do and see what's considered normal. Okay. And stay safe. Be kind to someone today. Thanks for viewing, and I'll see you next time.